A little bit of this before the flight. So today's the first full day. I'm firing off at the Colossus. It starts at 10. Had a nice big breakfast, steak and eggs. Hanging out at the pool before heading over to hopefully Paris. The Vidara pool is pretty nice. Small but nice. I walked through the Cosmo to get to and my seat is seat 7, which is pretty good. Pretty lucky seat. Some of the people on my table, starting stack.
Looks like we're in a nice room.
I'll get better and bigger. Absolutely, selfies are necessary. That guy with the glasses is a real tanker. He was tanking a lot. Slowly building my stack.
So at the first break, that's pretty much card dead. Two best hand I had were ace queen and pocket threes, which both lost. It's 40-minute level, so on the third level, about halfway through, an hour and a half into the tournament, I got a little caught a little heat. I raised with 8-10 of spades, near the cutoff, and got folded to the big blind, who makes it 3K. It was 200, 400, I hadn't made it 1,000. So he makes it 3K. I'm tired of folding. Say, let me defend. So flop comes out 2, 3, 4. I think it was like one spade. I was like 8-10. Maybe he has ace king, ace queen. He leads out 3K. It's about half the pot. I call. Turn is jack of spades. Now I have a flush draw too. He bets 6K. I call. The river was king of spades, so I got to my flush, and he leads out another 6K. And I decide I'm just gonna, put it all in, and he folded after saying, "I'm moving for you. I'm moving for you." Yeah. The guy wanted to take a picture in front of the WSOP sign. So he yells at me about sucking out with the king. So I just show him the 10 of spades, and that was a pretty good hand. Then a couple of hands later, same guy, I had raised with ace jack. I think he might have been the button this time, he was the button this time. A couple of hands later, he raises me to 3K. I call, flop comes out, king, queen, 10. So he flopped Broadway with 2 spades in there. But I checked him. He bets 2,200. It's a small bet, about a third of the pot. So I raise him to 5,500, 5,600, somewhere in that range, and he just snaps, shoves. Of course I call him. He only had ace queen, and I guess he could have run a runner. Voted me, or he could have chopped with a jack, but it ran out clean for me, 4-3, and I was able to really chip up nicely. So it was a nice little heater going into the first break.
A little bit later.
So we're at the second break, levels 4 through 6. I probably have the same amount of chips that I did, maybe a little bit less. I literally played 3 hands the whole time. And both the first 2 were like in the first 15 minutes. I didn't win either one of them. And then one of the last hands, about almost 2 hours in, I was dealt ace king on the big blind. There was a raise and a call. So I bombed it like I think blinds were 4-8. They had made it 18 and a call. I made it 8,000. One of them called, which is scary, but the flop was 8-10-10, and I just let out another 8-9K bet, and he just quickly folded. So I was lucky to win that one. It was just ace high.
So I've started doing this thing where like I'm obsessively building spirals on my chips. I mean, some people call them towers, call them chips, but I call them spirals. Some people call them towers. So, but yeah, that's,
So we're at the third break, level 7 through 9. We just finished. Level 7 was very magical and really good for me. It's fire. I was the only guy that could doubled me up. I was in the cutoff, hijack. It was just limped. There was nobody got involved. I had ace 7 of diamonds, so I raise it 2.5x, and he gets in. The two blinds get in, and that flop was 7-7 deuce. 2 of clubs, 7 of clubs, 7 of spades, as ace 7 of diamonds. So it's check to me. I put out a little bet, just in case of flush draw. If somebody wants to make a move. The only guy that had me covered on the table, small blind, he raises me 3x. I 4-bet him, and he puts it all in. And I call him. He turns over to 7-10 of spades. I had 7-8, my kicker. I mean, so the board never paired, and it was a nice double up. Yeah, after that, a little bit later, a new player had just come in. Fresh stack. First orbit, he was in the small blind. It had been raised to me. I had sixes on the button, so I just called, and he made it 3x raise. The other guy called, so I called. The flop comes out 6-7 jack, and the initial raiser just went all in. He had another 35-40k. Comes to me, I call, and the set of sixes that they held up. So it's been a pretty good run. People are like kind of starting to defer to me a little bit. Not being a bully, but it's working out. So pretty much lumped into a dinner break. Those 3 levels were a little bit rough. Ran into quads. There's a guy I can't beat. He sat across from me. I was been at seat 7 the whole day. He's a seat 1, and he's finally creeped up to be like the chip leader by a lot. He just beats me in every hand. It doesn't matter what he has. But I still have about 50 big blinds, 200k going in. All right, let's go.
so I've been trying not to crash after dinner. Smaller lunches. I think I went to Secret Pizza. Met the wife there. Um, After dinner, you get near the bubble and finally cashed.
Data is very important.
After cashing, we played just 3 more hands before bagging for day 2. And the next morning,
So first full day in Vegas was pretty successful. 1 bullet, already in the money, and rolled on to day 2, which starts in about an hour and a half, 2 hours from now. We cashed and bagged, and then played 3 more hands after the cashing. After the bubble burst, before heading home. So we're heading back this morning.
more recap from day 1.
So I think I peaked around level 7, 8, 9. My chip count didn't go any higher. If anything, my goal was about 300k. I got there level 7, and I think I hovered around 240, 250, and the night was 220. No major big hands. I had ace jack suited against ace queen. He had let out. He had raised and I'd called him, and it flopped top 2 pair. He checked, I bet. He called. There were 2 clubs, and then it just seemed very suspicious when he checked initially. So on the turn, I just checked the back when the club hit, and then the river, he checked again. It was a clean card. I had two pairs. I didn't think I'd get called with anyone that didn't have me beat, and he could have had me beat. Looked very suspicious, like he had a set or he hit the flush. So it was about maybe 160 in the pot, and had like 130, 140 behind. Any kind of bet less than an all in would have looked like kind of silly on the river. So I checked it back. He turned over ace queen, so he probably would have paid me off a little bit more. But maybe not. He said he would have folded if I went all in. And I guess I could have just tried to milk it. I figured I could have gotten maybe another 30, 40K. And I think that was the biggest hand. On one hand, I chased down a flush, flopped enough flush draw. I had an ace. It was three low cards with two clubs, and the aggressor she was a very super aggressive player. So I figured if I hit my ace, it might have been good, or I might have been just good with the ace. But I hit the club on the river, and I went all in, and she tanked for a long time and folded.
So I started every morning poolside, some coffee and a small breakfast. Yeah, it was a nice and relaxing way to kind of get into the day and then into the poker. There were no hiccups in day two. It was smooth. I had a softer table. Guys only played monsters, and then they shoved aces pre-flop, so it made it easy to manage.
So day two started out really, really well. We're at the first break. I think we probably had like 2,400 people starting. We're down to under 1,100. I busted up. I called 5-6 of diamonds on the button. It was a raise. And flop was 7-8-9, so I flopped the bottom straight, and it was checked to me. And I raised pot-sized bet. I think I made it 75K. And the guy tanked for a while, and then he shoved on me. He had 9-10 of hearts, so he had a lot of outs, but it held up. And then a couple hours later, same guy, he came in as the biggest chip leader. I busted him out. He was small, stacked at that point. He had like 175K. Blinds were 10-20. I made it 45, and he shoved like about 175, and I decided to call Jack Queen of clubs. He had ace jack of diamonds, and flop was 9 jack queen, so I hit my queen right away, and then another queen on the river to boat up. So just generally playing a solid game. I came in with 220K, about a little bit over 20 bigs. Still around 20 bigs, maybe a little bit more. I got about 700K.
So I got that lion card protector, I believe, from Etsy, and it's the perfect size. And it gets some comments, but I'm not in it for the comments.
It's a great call.
Deuce is
No,
good.
no, it's not. It's good, man.
Deuce is good.
This is good.
I did pretty well on that next level of blinds. We started today, 2,300 to 650 left now. You lost a big pot with king queen versus aces. You just lumped him behind me. Not that it would have mattered. I had king queen, 3 hearts flopped with a king, so I had the king plus flush draw. It even got to it, but it was only 400K. He had like 10 big blinds, so it didn't hurt too much. I have maybe 1.2 million. I think after 2 hours we have a dinner break. Hope to keep running good.
So the Colossus was quite the grind for me. I played that in the last possible flight on the Saturday. I'd worked the full week and flown, Saturday afternoon, Friday afternoon. So, but I stayed sharp. I've been playing all year, like once a week, local tournaments. It kept me relatively sharp. Usually, takes me a few days to kind of get on a roll, but this time it was, sharp from the start.
Yeah, so I came back from dinner break with about 3 million, and I really, really struggled. I lost a good amount of chips very early on. One of those was a weird hand. I had kings under the gun +1. I raised it 2.5x, maybe a little bit less. Everybody folds except for the big blind, and he calls me, and he's a pretty tight player. So flop comes out, 9 queen queen, and he checks, and somehow I didn't like it, but I wasn't sure, so I decide I'll check it back, see what he does on the turn. The turn was an ace, so now I lose the ace or queen. He leads out immediately with a bet. At this point I'm putting him. He's not afraid of the ace. That's the hand, the range I would have raised him pre-flop. So it was about, I think he bet like 300K or so, 250, a little bit less than half the pot. I call, see what the river is. It's like a deuce something, and he shoved. He had a lot. He had like almost 1 million. So I folded the kings. Then they broke up my table like twice in a row within a few hands. Each time I really, really struggled. I lost. I chased a flush draw from the blind. It was like a min raise with 3 players. I called that, and then I didn't hit, so I folded to shove on the river, even though I had a pair in there. But it's 6, 7, 8 ace board and a 6 paired, and I had the 8, but so I just I let it go. So from 3 million, I got down to about 1.3 million, which is at that point 10 big blinds. And I stayed patient. Got kings under the gun, not under the gun, in a small blind after there had been a raise from under the gun. Of course, I put it in. He snap calls me with 9s. I turn over my kings. They held up. Folded again for a couple of orbits, and again a small stack. He had maybe 600K. He holds back 100K and then just puts 500K in. Everybody folds to me. Big blind special. I was already doing the math about how I'm going to call them regardless, because blinds were 160. Small blind was 80. So big blind had 400K in the pot. He puts 5, and I had already paid for 160, but I had kings. So of course I shove. I'm not just going to call, and he decides, what, I'm going to take a stand. He was just making a move with 4 jack of clubs. So it worked out. Hopefully we're near the end of the night, but I don't know. There's still 200 people left. All right.
So it was about this time, around midnight, that guy across from me, the Super Pro, tells me there's been a shooting across the street. YouTubers fighting. The next morning.
So I managed to make it through day 2. Going into day 3, there's 103 people left. I believe I'm 91st in stack size. Not a lot of blinds, so hopefully get some cards super early, right away. I really struggled after the dinner break. Just mostly crashed. I won a couple of pots, small pots. Much later, near the end, but before that, it dipped down all the way down to like 1 million from 3 million at the dinner break, and I bagged about 2.3 million which puts me at 91st out of 103. The next pay jump is at 98, and that's it.
So the button was on seat 9 for the entirety of the tournament, so it helped me a lot. I didn't have to pay the blinds for a while, so that was a pretty lucky draw. Those blues are 100,000 chips, and the pinks at like 500K. The rail was forming. There's some really popular guys. The money jump was every table, which is every 9 players. So there's a bunch of mini bubbles going on, and the technology for the WSOP this year is amazing. You see everyone on your phone. It's got their profiles, chip counts that the dealers updated, and you could Google them, see how many millions they've won.
Oh, we started at 11.
So I was a little down this morning. I think it's just the way being overtired the night before and the way it finished. I came in not a lot of chips, but it was good. I was assigned the seat. I had the button to start, which helped. Then a couple of hands in, I shoved pocket 9s, and I got called by, I think, ace 8 suited, and I held up. So it was a nice double up to start. A couple of hands later, shoved pocket 7s, and I got fold. So already, feeling comfortable. I pretty much just folded every hand. One hand I defended king 10 of hearts on the flop, on the big blind. 3 players. Flop was 3 queen jack, and they both ended up jamming, and I ended up folding. And one had jack queen for 2 pairs. The other one had pocket kings. After I folded, the turn was an ace, but it was the right decision at the time. So, and then I just folded until I doubled up with jacks again. So pay jumps are really pretty good right now. 2-3K jump every 9 players. 55 players left. It's I'm just having fun.
They ended up moving me in my big blind, and immediately second hand.
Nice. Yep. I wish you had jacks. Damn it.
So I finished 39th out of over 16,000 people, and it was a pretty good payout of over 16K for, plus 15K.
So Colossus day 3 was pretty good. Colossus day 3 was fun. I was gonna have fun regardless. It was good. The rail was building because there's some popular guys with a lot of fans there. So I was lucky, even though I was one of the smaller stacks. I started on the button. I was able to double up immediately with second hand, and a couple of hands later, I had pocket 9s. A guy called me big stack, ace 8 of clubs, and it ran clean. Dealer kind of messed it up because she didn't burn a card before the river, so I had to, it's almost like running it twice. I stayed clean both times. Then, still first orbit, I shoved pocket 7s, and I got folds. So I was already, feeling good because at that point I was close to 8, 9, 10 big blinds, which is a lot at that stage. So a super interesting hand happened. I was on the big blind, and under the gun raised, and then the small blind calls. So I look at king 10 of hearts. I think if I was smaller stacked, I may have thought about shoving, but that's like a very speculative hand, and everybody's short stacked, so we're playing. So I call, just call, and flop comes out queen, jack, deuce, with 2 spades and 1 heart. I think it might have been queen, jack 3. So the small blind checks, I check. I'm hoping to get to the to the turn. Cheaper, because Ace or 9 gave me the Broadway. But the big blind bets. So I'm debating if I should call or not. Well, I'm thinking the small blind shoves all in. And at this point, I have maybe a 25% chance of winning this hand. And I have the backdoor hearts, but there's also a flush draw there. So I end up folding, and the initial aggressor goes all in too. So small blind turns over Queen Jack of Diamonds for top 2 pairs, and the other guy had pocket kings with the King of Spades. I was like, please check once, just check one time. But turn was Ace of Spades. I would have had my Broadway, and the Kings, still had outs because of the flush. He had the King of Spades flush, and the other guy, board pairs, he gets a vote. So the Queen of Diamonds, Jack of Diamonds won that hand, and we moved on. So even though it was a small stack, I had pretty good image at that point because that was, the one hand I won was, a good hand. And the other time, like when I shoved, they had folded. So a little bit later, I had pocket aces, and I raise it. It was probably like a middle position. Everybody folds except for the big blind. He calls. So flop comes out, Ace of Diamonds, 2 of Diamonds, 2 of Spades. It's like a perfect flop for me. Flop the boat. He checks, and I decide I'm gonna check back. And on the turn was like a 3, so still clean for me. He checked again. He didn't bet. I was like, he probably doesn't have anything. So I put out a decent bet, pot size bet. I left like 2 million behind. And he calls me, so I'm like, good. I'm getting ready to go all in. I'm hoping a diamond hits in case he's on a flush draw, or a 4 or 5. If he's on a straight draw. River was a blank, and he checked, and I put in, the 2 I had left. He tanked for a second, and he folded.
I feel like I'm there.
Then they broke my table, which I was not happy about. At this point, there was like 40 people left, somewhere in that range. The pay jumps are really nice. Every 9 players, every table break down they were breaking their pay jumps were going up a couple of thousand at a time, so which is pretty nice. I got moved. I wasn't happy, and the second hand I was in the small blind. An aggressive looking player. I just got into the table, so I don't, it was all speculation on my part. I had to build a story, made up story from just, eyeballing him. So she had raised, and guy in late position, he might have been in the cutoff. He jams all in. I know he's a very good player, a pro. A couple of bracelets. So I look at my hand. I have Ace of Hearts, Queen of Hearts. This is a tough spot to fold. I have 5, 6 big blinds. I could probably fold my way for a pay jump or 2, but the goal is to win it all. And I put him in this range. I put him in. I didn't put him on aces because or kings because one, I had an ace, and 2, with the kings, I think instead of jamming, he would have 3-bet to get value. So I put him in hands like, jacks or 10s, or maybe ace king, but ace king less likely because I'm holding an ace. So specific hand, he's not supposed to put him in hand, but I'm hoping it's a jacks, 10s, or even 9s. And he could know that the other person is like super aggressive, raising every hand. He's trying to push her out. He didn't want somebody else to go. He didn't seem like he wanted a caller in a way. So that was my thinking, and I asked for time, and then I would just go, put my chips in. The initial aggressor thinks for a little bit and folds, and I'm tell him like, hope we're racing. Please show me jacks. He turns over Ace King of Spades. That's the worst hand for me to see. Totally dominated. Ace in the window, and the board ran clean for him, and I was out. But I was out in 39th place out of 16,301 players, and that was a pretty good payday as well. A little over 15K, which isn't bad for a $500 buy-in. So it was one bullet, for one bullet, and pretty good result. And it took 3 days of playing. So I'll try to fire off another tournament, Jay. Bracelet hunting.
The end.